Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. On today's TED Talk, we'll be talking about stereotypes and how they have come to affect the lives of African Americans. As society continues to grow, we see that everything begins to change, whether that be for the better or for the worse. In the case of racial discrimination, it is evident that as a whole, our societal views towards different races has changed. Although racial discrimination has changed greatly from the past, there are still cases in which people define others as being different races rather than just one race. Racial stereotypes can greatly affect those that they target and could dramatically affect everyday life. Additionally, the past has greatly affected how we think of one another today and the beliefs that we have towards one another. It is indefinite that we are gradually changing and becoming more and more accepting of African Americans in our world today. This shows to us that we are truly changing and maturing as the human race. It is evident that in today's time, we have eliminated many different stereotypes of the black race. The view of the average American citizen, therefore, has changed for the better, undoubtedly. There was a time in the past where we could never have thought about giving power to the black man. Although, this is definitely not the case in today's time, for we have given our most powerful spot on the political party to a black man, Barack Obama. There was once a fear that by giving an African American power, that they would abuse it and take over and get revenge on the white people that once enslaved them. We now have eliminated that fear, for we now have put our trust into a black president who we believe will be able to make our nation more prosperous. Barack Obama is not the only case where we can see that. We have learned to become more accepting and trusting of black Americans. For example, we also have many African Americans enrolled in the Army. Although there were African Americans in the Army before, the difference from now and then is that we have integrated our teams today to include both blacks and whites, showing that we view them as equals who are just as capable as any other man. So, the question still remains though, how has the past influenced what we think about African Americans today? Well, it is quite obvious if we look back at the minstrel show involving a character named Jim Crow. The actor who played Jim Crow was given the task to depict a black male. The only problem with this was with the derogatory manner in which he depicted this role, for his skin was painted pitch black and his lips were enlarged, making African Americans look horribly deformed or irregular. Because of this early portrayal, we have come to view many African Americans as being stereotyped with extremely dark skin and larger than normal lips. Furthermore, other than stereotypes about physical features, the past has also influenced our views on the personality and behavior patterns of the African American race. For instance, sheriffs used to walk around town arresting any African Americans they saw who was not working, just walking. They arrested them for crimes such as theft, robbery, or even murder, even though they didn't do any of it. Because of this, many individuals began to believe that African Americans were dangerous people who only caused crime. It remains evident that this still remains true today. For example, more African Americans get arrested than any other race. A study shows that 49%, yes, 49% of black males are arrested compared to only 38% of white males. With all that being said, it is quite indisputable that the stereotypes that have been created, whether in the past or in current time, have a great effect on the lives of African Americans today. African American males are often stopped while driving because of their skin tone. In fact, black drivers are twice as likely, that's right, twice, to be arrested during a traffic stop compared to a white driver. This means that they are twice as likely to be thrown into jail or sentenced to be punished for being innocent. African Americans are subjected to random searches and are punished unjustly because of how society has long viewed the African American race. The school lives of African Americans are also affected by racial stereotypes. For instance, African American college students tend to receive lower grades than other races. A study proves that it is because of racial stereotypes that undermine their intellect. The awareness of these stereotypes play a psychological role that can hinder the African American academic's performance. Research supports the fact that stereotypes do affect African Americans negatively. An experiment supported by the NSF Career, which is also known as the National Science Foundation, shows that when they had two groups of African Americans that attended the same college, they saw that there was an academic improvement in those students who received positive reinforcements instead of the belittling stereotypes that attack their intellectual capacity. Overall, the views of many Americans today, including the views of ourselves, have changed greatly from the past. Society is becoming more and more accepting of the black race with every passing year, yet people of today's time will still see one another as separate entities based off skin tone. Therefore, it is apparent that the societal views of our era have changed greatly from the past, but in the end, there is still racial discrimination against the blacks. The views that the whites held against the blacks in the days of segregation is a big factor that affects the way we view African Americans. Because society has carried on these archaic views, the stereotypes that are made against African Americans today are hugely based off the accusations that were made back in the times where colored people were separated from the whites. Furthermore, because of the racial stereotypes, the lives of African Americans are greatly affected. It is undoubtable that our nation is becoming more welcoming of African Americans, however, but we still have much to change and learn before blacks are able to escape the belittling slander that they receive on a daily basis. Before any of that stops, discrimination has to be eliminated, and we have to start viewing one another not as separate individuals of different races, but as separate individuals of the same race.